Blaze Tribe. We are back with another episode on Blaze Group Radio. And today I have the beautiful honor of hosting Sequoia on the couch. Let me tell y'all something, y'all. Sequoia, I'm going to let her introduce herself. But we on a first name basis, for real, for real. I literally remember the first time I saw her reaction inside of a community communication board to her first day of the summit, and how vulnerably raw what she wrote was, and how surprised that she was at safety, and how she was literally telling us her thoughts like, I'm gonna see if this is real. Like, this is kind of wild, you know? So Sequoia is sis in these streets. She's shown up in a myriad of ways, honestly, since that first intersection in the community from the Blaze Virtual Summit. And I'm gonna let her introduce herself, what she does, who she is, and who she does it for. Sequoia, you have the mic.
Hey y'all. My name is Sequoia. I often go by Quoy. And I love helping solopreneurs. I help solopreneurs, creatives, really tap into that soul of their brand by giving them more of in-depth of looking within themselves, first and foremost, so they can really have a stronger foundation to build a business, to build a brand. I'm all about authenticity, and you know, I'm an artist, I'm a designer, I'm a healer. I love saying I'm creative doula because I love to give resources and hold people's hand through that journey of self-discovery. And I feel that that's really important when we're building a brand, at least a soul-led brand. You know, like, you can build any type of brand that you want, but I'm all about tapping into the soul, tapping into your authenticity, and really being secure, safe, and feeling like self-love to be authentically you. Because I don't know about y'all, but for me, it feels that a lot of times it was really hard to be authentic in certain spaces. So yeah, that's like the short version.
And it's beautiful. I love you describing yourself as a creative doula. I'm gonna keep it a band. Like, so many times we constrict our identity to, I'm the founder of this business, right? And we think about Elon Musk, the brother is a visionary, right? We know that. It doesn't matter what he touches, right? When we reflect on the life of Steve Jobs, like, bro was a visionary, right? It did not matter what he touched. We knew, right? He was going to redefine the way the world works, right? And that is what Blaze hopes to do, is why we build leaders, because, bro, it doesn't matter how many, you could go through 9 businesses in this lifetime, right? Like, that's cool, right? And so creative doula, I agree. And that is why listeners, we're going to get into the soul of brand development today with Sequoia, because that is her ministry. That is her ministry. And so where I want to start, Sequoia, is something that you beautifully articulated to me when you and I caught up a couple of weeks ago. And it was about you saying that our creativity goes hand in hand with our inner child healing. And that was so deep, because I know for myself, my inner child has had to heal so much in this entrepreneurial journey. But it could be easy to think that it's just me, because that's not what we talk about on Instagram, right? That's not curated, you know, in the feed. So walk us through that. Like, why does creativity go hand in hand with inner child healing, and what can that look like in our lives?
Creativity is more of like a zone, a mindset in a way. It's not really about what you're creating. It's more so it is about what you're creating, but it's more about where the intention is coming from. And like, creativity, we all have, like, in a sense, we're all co-creators, really, you know what I mean? And that's why I say it's more so of a mindset, and it's an experiment. Like, you're learning and relearning how to utilize that creative sense within yourself so you can actually create or manifest or, build, design upon something that's from your mind, that source energy inside you. And it's also playful. It's joyful, and that's where the inner child comes at play, because when you look at kids like 5 and under, like they're intuitively creating things, and being themselves. Like you can't sit here and say like, oh, well, you know, I can't think of a quote or an example right now. It'll probably come to me. But like kids literally are just genuinely themselves, we wind up developing other things within our mind, and when we get to adulthood, it's just like work, 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 work. And we forget how to create, or at least the adults that I've seen and created with and had groups with, it's like a lot of them are like, well, I'm not creative or I'm not artistic, and it's like, well, art to me is the lifestyle, and it's also like, how are you naturally, because art and nature go hand in hand, like how are you naturally using these gifts, discovering yourself these gifts, because as you grow too, you're discovering more. So like, to get back to the inner child though, the inner child is playful. The inner child is connected to that source energy, to God. Like it is that paintbrush that they naturally just, let's be myself, and just like da, 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 da. And I just feel like we don't get enough of that explorative thing too, because I've been dealing with that too. It was like I had to remember like the experience, something you just said, like it doesn't matter if you have one job or 5 jobs like that you went through and you so-called failed, right? Didn't really fail, you experienced something. I definitely had to struggle with that through my own healing and my own like discovery, and really tap back into play. Like, why am I doing this? Like, not to be feeling like like struggle or anything. It's to be like, yes, I love this. I love doing this. I want to share this love with you. So, yeah, creativity in the inner child is nurturing that, being able to be your own boss, right? Be your own leader, and guide that child and comfort that child, through the experiences that we're learning on an everyday basis, or as what I love to tap into, like entrepreneurial wise, on a business basis. So yeah. I don't know if you can bring me back in, because I felt like I might have been, going on.
No, but, that's everything. Because I think you're exactly right. Like, and I think that's why the past piece of brand development is so important. Like, it is important that we remember, period. It is so important that we remember. Because those things that are instinctual to us, how do we know? Because kids do it. Like you say, like they create, it's already in us. It's not on us, it's in us. Like the degree didn't give it to us. You know what I'm saying? Like the titles don't give it to us, right? And so remembering who we were when we were free, right? And I think that's why entrepreneurship is so powerful, because you have agency again, right? You decide how your day looks, etc. Right? But I think, to your point, Sequoia, creativity is one of the most natural things that we can do. I sat in Zanzibar one day. I was at a restaurant. It was on the beach. Wind was blowing. It was a beautiful experience, and I started pondering. Right, like if flies move on purpose, they don't even know why they're doing it, but they're naturally drawn to decompose shit that we just discard, and we need them for that, right? Maggots do something similar. Bees, they transfer pollen. They don't even know. So them, they just doing what they're naturally drawn to, like a moth to a flame. But because they fertilize, right, we see beautiful blooms that continue to spread, right? And so I pondered, like, and I asked God, honestly, but I pondered. I was present with the universe, and I asked, so what of humans, right? Like, what are we here for?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I promise you, sis, what downloaded, because I just needed to remember,
Mm-hmm.
was that we are creators. Like, we are the only being that is just drawn to construct and create. We paint because it feels good. We can't point to, we aren't, right? And we, even if you think about, books that religions follow, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, we talk about being created in God's image or God light, like
Mm-hmm.
creator, like that, like what other being does that? And that in of itself is effortless and beautiful, right? And I agree with you. I think that is what we have to tap into, because the closer we get to that, the more we realize, how to cultivate all things just from what's under our feet. Like,
Yeah.
food is there already, bruh. Like, healing is there already for, so good. Okay, so y'all, so I know, listeners, like this, we could sit in this all day, but Sequoia has so much richness to share, and I want us to experience that, right? So we talked a bit about past, right? Creativity being drenched in inner child healing, right? But let's move to the present some. So you've also said that authentic branding has to be so deep. Ooh, I mean, because that calls for vulnerability, baby. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, vulnerability, going back to self, right? Remembering who you are, remembering your God-given talents, right? And then also like skills, because talents we can all have like naturally, but if we stray away from them sometimes, we kind of forget, or we kind of don't even have that purpose for them. Like, if we don't see value in something, a lot of times we just like disregard things. And like the authenticity part is remembering who you are, remembering what you love, what feels good, what are your passions, are you going after that? Are you tapping into that passion part? Like, I have dealt with a lot of struggle in entrepreneurship, and I was like, when I first started, the idea was nothing of this. Like, how did I get here, right? And then I found myself doing certain things or saying yes to certain things that was like, no, this is not true to me. No, this is not even aligned with my mission, And even when you can own a business, right? An entrepreneur can literally own a business, take someone's system that, that's put together, and then just be that business owner and that leader. But they can also be a business woman, man, whatever, and actually create something out of nothing and say, like, this is my purpose, this is my mission, this is what I want to do, and this is who I want to serve, and this is, what I feel that I'm here to do. And I think that's a difference when we're talking about authentic entrepreneurship versus like, just like the businessman. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it's just like serving. Like, who are you serving? How are you creating? How are you using your gifts? I'm big on using gifts. I never wanted to waste talent. My mom used to say it all the time, like, wasted talent. And it just played in my head, like, well, what is my talent? Like, what will I do? And I've always wanted to help people. So, like, here I am now. It's like, how are we helping people utilizing our authentic gifts and sharing it with the world?
That's good, Sequoia. It brings me to literally a workshop that I was in last night. Shout out to the Well Work. Kat Gabrielle is doing super dope things with the Built Wealth Founders Academy. Honored to be part of the inaugural cohort. And what we talked about last night was building a brand, right? And we were posed with a very clear question in the beginning: are you building a brand or a business? It's like, ooh, are you building a brand or a business, right? And it's completely up to us. We have agency, we can decide, right? But as Stanley, the speaker, unpacked it for us, he was talking about, you know, there are certain brands, and it just rolls off of our tongues like this.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain brands that when we unpack that thing, we so excited that we save the packaging. Literally.
Yeah.
That's not because of the business. Like,
Yeah.
a business does not compel you to do that. You're going to use the solution that was created, but a brand is so deep, so soul deep, right?
Yeah. It's a person
that you save in a pack.
Yeah.
Listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was articulated, and I'm gonna say this because hopefully it frees some folk, right? What was articulated was that in the first, especially if you're building a business where it is the sole source of putting food on your table, you know what I'm saying, keeping the lights on in your house, taking care of your babies, right? There's just some shit in the beginning you can't worry about. And the brand, because it takes you time to develop. Like, he talked about how long it took Apple to develop the brand. Like, the things we love today, that minimalist style, all white, very simple design, like, that's not day one shit, right? Like, you know, and to give ourselves grace enough to know that all of these things are coming. The font, the blah blah blah. You just gotta stay in the game long enough, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I was thinking about sustainability. I think that's the importance of bootstrapping revenue, right? Or just figuring out a different way. So like you say, that's what I would say. Figure out something else to keep the lights on so that you got time to build your baby and take care of your baby and protect your baby. It don't, you know, what if the baby ain't putting food on the table? How unnatural is it for the baby to pay the mortgage? The baby don't pay the mortgage.
No, it does not. Right. It does not.
Yeah.
That's true. That is so true. Because for my path, honestly, it was like the opposite. I found myself saying like, whoa, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Because it was just so much ingrained and so much that I wanted to express. And because I didn't have that business mindset, I had the artistic stuff going on. It was just like, what am I supposed to do? But like, you know, you can own a gas station, or you can own or let me put it this way, because I think I saw something like this on Instagram before. You can own a laundromat, or you can brand that laundromat where it's an experience now. It's a whole personality now. And it's like people actually talk about it and they remember it, you know, because branding, it always reminded me of how they brand cows. Like it's a package, it's a statement, it's something that sticks with you. And I just want people to authentically allow their soul to shine and allow themselves to be themselves with their talents and servicing in the way that is how they want to do. Like you said, have that, what was that? That agency, you know?
Yeah.
That agency over.
Ashe. And everybody listening to this, I challenge you to sit down and write this out. Like, answer these questions Quoy is talking about. Press rewind and listen to it again. Like, what matters to you today, right? Like, what is real for you? What is a non-negotiable for you today? And really trying to disassociate. Now, if it's put food on your table, you got to figure out what you got to figure out, right? But if you can figure out ways, you know, to decouple it, right? Where you bootstrapping revenue and that part is taken care of, and you have time to nurture this baby, right? Write it out. There's a reason why people put values on their website, so that when folk come through the door, they already know if they're aligned or not. And it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable, right? And if you don't have values on your website yet, that's fine. Write it down today. Let that be the start to something, so that every time you make a hire, every time they produce work, every time you speak, you can always look back at this and you have something real to point to, right? When brands are the reasons, brands or lack thereof, right, are the reasons why people get excited about certain jobs. Like, oh, I work for Google. Like, it's a whole, you know, versus them saying I'm a data scientist. Like, very different, right? You don't know where you fit, sure. Right?
Yeah.
Values. It's because somebody has literally articulated what the identity is, right? And people have bought into that. So maybe start today if you haven't yet. So, love this, Quoy. I could literally go on all day. But I want to scurry across to the future too, because you said something to me that was super deep. Like, you talked about nourishment being important for combating burnout. I'm so used to self-care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so used to recovery. Like, these words we use a lot. But I've never heard anybody talk about nourishment. Like, that word. You talking about seeping into every part that can be permeated so that it stays moist. So it stays fertile. Like, how can we activate nourishment in our lives so that we're not always going through these cycles of building and healing, like, bro, nourishment is different.
Nourishment is different. It's definitely holds hands with the healing, but it circles back again to exploring who you are and what you love, understanding that self-love. So it's like, like, do you like days at the spa? Do you like it's reminding me, okay, let me put it this way. Everybody has like a love language, right? And there's acts of service, there's quality time. There's certain things that aren't necessarily like physical self-care. And when we can explore like our own emotions and like just needs, that's where I feel like the nourishment is. I was introduced to Reiki when I was a massage therapist, and when I was a massage therapist, I had stopped going to school for graphic design because I was like, I don't know if I want to do this cool stuff. And I was introduced to a whole different lifestyle. Like, I liked it because it was very healing, and I started realizing the power of touch and how much we need that, and how much a lot of people don't have that, or it might be distorted, in a certain way. Here, I always go deep with certain things, but I'm going to bring it back around because I know the time is limited, where it's like, what do we really need though? Like, what are we taking care of our necessities, in life? I don't know the name of that graph, right, where it's like shelter, food, and this and that, like, but it's like, what do we need to be literally feel whole? And when we're going through our healing process, how can we retreat with that nourishment? How can we put that lotion on and spend extra time on our skin so it can feel good? How can we put that like cozy blanket on, and maybe just wear it through the whole day if you're like, if you work at home or whatnot. If you go to a job, put some cozy clothes on instead of putting on the tight pants or something, like, eat some nourishing food made from hands, like, that's the nourishment definitely is like soul food. It comes with the word soul to me, I feel like. And it's something that's felt in like your heart space. It's something felt internally. And that's what I would like to say nourishment is. And getting back to understanding that, I guess we can pay for certain, things that help us with our self-care, which is cool. Again, it's not right or wrong, but there's like a nourishment that can also be experienced that's priceless. And that's also like a discovery through that healing. So yeah.
That's so beautiful, and it's all full circle, right? Because as you described these experiences where it's like it's a heartbeat type thing, right? I just kept seeing a child that just knows what to do for what it needs. Children run for hugs because they just want a hug in that moment.
Yes.
Like they say, I love you because, kids, when they want your attention, they're not trying to rationalize, well, if I do this, they actually love connection that much. Right? They reach to hold your hand, right? And we've been conditioned so much to be very analytical and very productive and very detached from our families, right? Kids start being primed for 8-hour days in school. right? Parents go to work and they have to get comfortable. It's very natural for moms to feel like that felt very unfamiliar for them, right? Rightfully so. Right, but there is so much conditioning that happens to pull people apart so that you are more productive, and actually the feelings of hugs and soul deep things and the warmth that comes when you eat some soul food feels like an anomaly, right? But it's just going back to the inner child and healing her and saying yes to her. We've kept saying no because people said no to her in real life as she developed and got ready for the world, air quotes on that, right?
Yes.
But just remember what she likes, what she needs. And I agree with you, Sequoia. Just do it, because we all love different things. You know, like live music will bring tears to my eyes just because. There's something about music for me. You know, something about water for me. It's something about travel for me. Every single time. And I can't tell nobody else's story, but it unlocks parts of my brain and my body. I know it, and I go to that source that won't run dry. You know, so thank you so much for everything shared. If you could, please tell everybody how they can tap in with you in whatever ways, you know, you prefer. Like, what should people do that want to be part of what you're offering to the world?
What should people expect to do? Or like, where can they find me? Like, what do you...
Yeah, any of that stuff. Like, I know, like, I want to be mindful of, it doesn't have to be Instagram. It doesn't have to be, you know, but you are out here being this creative doula. So what's the best way for people to engage? Even if it is Instagram, if it's a website or email list?
Well, one thing I've been starting for my own nourishment is it's more of a space. It's a space of expression. I call it the Queen of Wands Club. I'm on Substack, where I'm sharing some of my entrepreneur stories that I have not really expressed, because a lot of it dealt with shame and burnout, or the shame caused from burnout, the shame caused from not knowing. But now I'm at a place where it's like, I'm talking to certain women and they're aligning with certain stories. And I just feel like I want to express this along with some of my paintings and just really doing this for me. And if anybody aligns with it, then cool. Just explaining certain things of energy healing and just all of like the creative stuff that I see and deem creative on a soul level. So you can kind of understand who I am. You can, of course, check out Instagram and whatnot, but that's something that I do for my nourishment right now. Speaking on burnout and just my whole story of the spiritual journey of entrepreneurship, in hopes to connect with people that do align, for sure.
All right, y'all heard it here. Substack, go find Sequoia. That's a brand, honestly. It's not about it. A brand has nothing to do with the thousands and millions. It's those few 100 that's really rocking with you. And for a lifetime, y'all just on these journeys together. And it does not matter if it's 8 different businesses. Like,
yeah.
It's what is fashioned by your hands that they are in love with. Thank you for being a beautiful beacon of light for us to follow, Sequoia. Thank you for always being so effortlessly raw in what you express, because you give other people license to be human. I love you deep, sis. I am always honored to walk alongside you on this entrepreneurial journey, and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you. Thank you for creating this and allowing me to feel safe and feel expressive and just be so supportive. I thank you for that, for sure.
Of course, Mama. Of course. All right, y'all, keep it locked. We'll be back next week on Blaze Group Radio. Have a very good next 7 days. Peace.